I've been hesitant to post anything on social media. You know, the typical messages that a lot of people have posted, thoughts and prayers, and the pictures and repost and all of that. Not that that's not important, but I've been kind of processing, and I'm still in the process of processing what's going on right now in Maui. It's kind of a lot. And so I thought that I would try to share some of my thoughts on what I'm thinking about right now, and hopefully people can either find that relatable, or even just this video itself can be a place where people can come in and share their own thoughts, because it's not as simple as posting something online with an image and expressing, you know, sympathy. I think there's more to it than that, and that's what I'm trying to sort through myself. I'm here on Oahu, and to be honest, before this past week, I couldn't even point to Lahaina on a map. I'm not that familiar with Maui. I haven't been to Maui since high school, where I played golf, and so I don't really know much about Maui. I have some people that I do know, some distant acquaintances, but I don't have any family on Maui. But I know that there are a lot of people that do. Over the past several days, past week or so, it's been a lot to soak in, because the news talks a lot about what's going on, right? That's the biggest issue going on right now in Hawaii, and you know, Hawaii has received international and just, you know, nationwide and international coverage about this particular thing, not just because of the fire and the damage, but also the people who died. And now we're sort of in this recovery phase, and we're just about starting it. There's just a lot of things going on here, and I'm watching all of this, and you know, it's a mix of emotions and thoughts for me. For the most part, I'm not really sure what I can do. Donate money, supplies. That's I guess all I feel like I can do. And when that's all one thinks they can do, you kind of feel like helpless or almost paralyzed, because the problem is so big, right? When you see the damage, it's so huge. I mean, it just, you know, this is life-changing for these people. How do you help them, right? From just as the individual person, how do you go out and help them? And that is a lot for me. Again, I'm not even directly affected by this. You know, my house is fine, right? These other people who the fire has impacted directly, they lost everything, right? Not just the lives of family members or friends, but also their house, their building, all the things that they've collected over the years, memories, places that they've been to, businesses, pets, like all this stuff. And yet, how do we as individuals in Hawaii or the world, you know, how are we supposed to help them? And that's something that I'm still trying to figure out. I think one of the things that we've seen in the past week or so is that even though we're all on separate islands, and that, you know, what's happening on Maui is isolated in terms of affecting like Oahu or the rest of the state, at least from the damage standpoint. People are still affected, but the fire is not going to spread over the ocean. But what that's shown is that the people of Hawaii, you know, we love on our own, right? We come together and we donate money, and we buy supplies and give of our time, and all of these things. You know, when something like this impacts one part of the state, you know, we all kind of feel it. And it's kind of like when someone goes off and wins American Idol, or they do really well in some professional sport, we all cheer them on. I'm glad to hear that there's federal funds, and a lot of donations have been coming in. I've been seeing all the posts online and through the emails, and heard Jeff Bezos gave $100 million, which is, it's a lot of money. And in hearing all the money that's coming in, federal money, state money, county assistance, all of that, it's really great to hear that. And as an individual, again, it's kind of overwhelming, right? Like if I give my $20 or $50, $100, right? What does that even mean? It's nice to see that people are giving supplies and food and clothing and things, because people have nothing, right? So that's really nice that they're doing that. But again, as an individual, is that enough? Is that all I can do? And so that got me thinking about, what is it that I can do? And maybe part of that is making a video talking about it. And by the way, all the money that I make, ad money from this video, will go towards the Maui relief. I'll figure out a way to get it to the appropriate sources. But I thought, okay, maybe I can just talk about it. That seems to be what I do with this YouTube channel. It's not about food, it's not about travel, it's about life in Hawaii from one local's perspective. And this is my perspective on what's going on here. And what I try to do is talk about things through reason, through thought, and just have a good discussion where maybe like-minded people, or even not like-minded people, can come together and at least have a place where we can all hang out and meet. And that's what I think this channel is built around. Or at least that's what I'm trying to do. There's this phase of sympathy that I guess people go through where I feel real sorry for what's happened. But part of my mind kind of, I don't know, it's not really pessimistic. It's more like, I don't know, realistic. It's more like, okay, next steps. Maybe it's more problem solving. And I think about the next steps on what it's going to take for the people who are directly impacted on Maui. How are they going to rebuild their lives back? Again, there's federal funds and state funds, and that's all wonderful, right? They'll have temporary housing and all these supplies and all this stuff while they figure that out. What I'm hoping, however, is that the people are going to be able to navigate the logistics of what's next for them. And I hope that there is support for them to do that, right? There's that financial aspect of it, because, it's expensive to live in Hawaii, particularly in Maui. It's very expensive, more so than here even on Oahu. Some of those condo prices are pretty expensive, and home prices, and because it's a neighbor island, it costs even more to get stuff over there. So, for them to rebuild, it's going to be expensive, and I hope that they have assistance in getting the insurance companies to be able to pay out and to help them to build. I can't imagine what it's going to be like construction-wise over there. People are going to have to come in from the neighbor islands to Maui to support that and to help build. I'm not sure how much our supply is going to cost now. What about union stuff and all these different things? I have no idea how that's all going to work out. I just hope that it works out for them. But those are things that in my mind, I was thinking about, like, I hope that they get help with that. That they don't have to pay for the repair themselves, that they can count on the insurance that hopefully they had as a homeowner to pay for this. But more importantly, I'm hoping that, and I thought about the emotional trauma that I'm sure a lot of these people went through, and will they have the support in that aspect? And that may be a lot more embarrassing, right? The financial part, of course, they can take all that, but it's the emotional part. Are they going to get the assistance for that? Because I haven't lived in a place where I lost everything. The closest I can even relate to it, and this is not even close, but the closest that I can relate to what that must feel like is our house got robbed a couple times in Kaneohe. And we felt bad because they took a lot of stuff, but it was ultimately replaced, and we still had the house. So that's the closest I can even get to understanding losing your entire home and all the stuff, in it. So I hope that there's support for them, to be able to talk to people about this. Professional help, but also, I think, community help and assistance. While the money, I'm sure, will be very helpful, I think it's those other things that they're really going to need during this time. And I hope that we as locals, we can provide that to them. Looking at Lahaina, it's half the size of where I grew up in Kaneohe, or it's less than half, but it's about half the size. But I was thinking, if a fire ever impacted Kaneohe and wiped out Kaneohe, like even half of Kaneohe, right? That would be really hard, because it's not just a loss of the businesses, but it would be a lot of the memories and experiences that I had growing up there. If Windward Mall was gone, or even Kaneohe Town, right, by Toyota and McDonald's and if all of that was gone, that's where I grew up. I walk around there, catch the bus, like all that would be gone. And of course it'd have to be rebuilt, and maybe over time it would be okay, but in the present it would be shocking to me, trying to deal with that initial shock and just all the emotions that come with that, when all that or you grew up with is all gone. Sorry if this is so like scatterbrained, but this is just, again, all the thoughts I'm still trying to process and go through. But one of the things I also was thinking, and this is maybe what people aren't talking about yet, but maybe they will eventually. But more so, it's about questions about this whole event happening. And I think it's okay to ask questions without it being blaming on other people and getting outraged. I think it's okay to have those discussions, because really we don't want something like this to happen again. And hopefully we can learn from any mistakes that were made. But I do have a lot of questions, and I was wondering, I guess, big question is, how could something like this happen? Not necessarily the fire, because fires happen, but the evacuation process. People driving through the fire. I mean, a lot of people have seen those videos where the cars are driving and it looks like a movie. Like the fire is going off and they're just driving down the road, and it's like, how did the fire get that close where they gotta drive like that? How come the evacuation was the way it was? How did the fire even get started? Was it electrical? Was it intentional? Was it just pure accident? Was it somebody they were smoking and then they flicked it out the car window? I don't know. But I'd be curious to know those types of things. And maybe some of the officials didn't think there was an urgency to it. And just speaking for myself from a very Oahu perspective, we knew it was going to be windy. Right? I mean, we already planned, and we felt a lot of wind on Oahu. I mean, it was blowing around, and it was a tough day to go walking around. It was blowing pretty hard here. And I had heard about the fires that were happening on Maui at that point already. But, I figured, they had fires in the past. They can handle, it's not going to be that big a deal, like they'll just contain it. And, just like last time, right, is probably what people thought, it's going to be just like last time. But it wasn't. And I think Hawaii and a lot of people were caught off guard. And that's not a good thing, to be caught off guard. So I just kind of wonder what was supposed to happen. Emergency procedures, and how are people supposed to know to leave? And how does that communication improve in the future? Not just for Maui, but for all the other islands too, in case something were to happen. This wasn't like a slow-moving hurricane where everybody had time to prepare, and the thing comes and okay, everyone passes and everyone's okay, and we gotta fix a little bit. It's not like that. This one was it happened fast, and in those moments, I would think the communication to the people is got to be fast, right? Whether it's sirens or text or TV or whatever, right? And so I kind of just wonder, what happened? How come people had to jump off the pier into the water to save themselves? How come it just seemed like we're so laid back? And that's part of who we are, right? As people here, right? We're so laid back, right? We're so, how, like, we're just a Hawaii style, right? But in these types of instances, we cannot be, and seeing the damage and the video and pictures, it's like, man, like, some of that maybe couldn't have been prevented. The fire is just going to come down and just get everything anyway. But, when it comes to, people's lives and pets, how come they didn't have enough time to leave? For the past week, and I'm sure for the next, I don't know how many more months, this will probably be the main story, going forward, recovery efforts and rescues and all of that. What I wish I could do with this channel is I wish I could actually go out and talk to some of these people. You know, they're at the convention center. Some of them are here at the convention center on Oahu. Others already are back in Maui and they're in Lahaina. I wish I could interview them and ask them what happened. You know, I just want to know what happened and hear their side of the story, their experiences. Because what we're getting on the news is like very small stuff. You know, on social media, we get the flashy stuff, right? The fire images and all of that. Not necessarily the people's stories. And if we are, it's super small sound bites, right? Because, you know, it's the news, right? They kind of have a whole long interview. But I would love the opportunity to talk to some of these people. I don't know how that could even happen, but I wish I had the opportunity to share that, because I think that's important, to really ask them, what is it that they need? The initial reaction when something like this happens, I think, is, I don't know what to do, so let me just give money, right? And that's where I found myself, like, okay, I don't know what to do, so I just give money, right? But I feel like it would take so long for that money to eventually trickle down to that individual, and that person at this time might not just need money. They might need more stuff, and that stuff that they need, maybe you cannot even buy it with money. You know, they just need someone to listen to them. They need a hug. They need someone to take them out to lunch. They need a ride to the airport. You know, they need help clean up their whatever remains of their house. Those types of things, I don't think money can necessarily supplement that. And in fact, I think it would be a lot better if people could step in and do that. But we don't know, right? As local people, you know, we want to try to help, but we don't know. And I think by asking these people directly, what can we really do for you? So that's what I wish I could do further. But in the meantime, it's gonna be just this YouTube video. Again, I hope I'm not the only person who is still trying to process and figure out this whole situation. You know, because it's real easy to just post the one post and move on, right? And for most of us, we're going to just move on with our life, right? It's going to be holiday time. We're going to have Black Friday. We're going to have, you know, Christmas and New Year's, and, you know, we have plenty of fireworks. And I even wonder about the fireworks now, right? Considering what happened with fire. But, you know, life's going to move on for most of us, right? But for these people, it's not. And how do we not forget them? You know, once the social media cloud sort of settles, right? The dust of the social media trendy topic kind of just settles down. You know, are we going to forget about our friends, our neighbors, and you know, people who are from Hawaii, or even not from Hawaii, but people who live here? Are we going to forget about them? And what can we do to make sure that they feel like they're cared about? You know, because they can see the big amounts of money being donated and all the busyness, right? And for some, maybe that's not what they need right now, or in the future. You know, they might just need someone to talk story, and to just lend a helping hand in ways that, you know, you can't buy. You can't purchase that. You know, money can't fill that place. And for the people who have lost their house and the material stuff, yeah, there's not much encouragement to be said. You know, if we lost everything, I mean, it'd be like a big reset. And there's so much that, you know, just looking around my place right now, if we lost all this stuff, and this isn't even a lot of stuff, but if I lost it, it would hurt. Most of it can be replaced, but there's certain things that cannot. Hopefully we can learn to appreciate the things that we do have. And I guess just try to remember that the material stuff is not what it's all about, right? Because it can all be gone in an instant, right? It can all be gone in a day. And then where are you at? So yeah, a lot of stuff that, again, I'm still processing as someone who lives here. someone born and raised here, and someone who's not directly impacted, but I mean, these are people from Hawaii, people from our state, you know, and these are visitors, and they're people, you know. So you feel for them, but you kind of also wonder, what more can I do? You know, what can I do to really make an impact in someone's life, besides just, you know, posting something online or money. Those things are wonderful, but I'm just sitting here wondering, like, what it is that I can do to really help them, and I don't know. I don't know at this time. So, yeah, just wanted to share my thoughts on what's been going on in Maui. I figure that can't really fit in a online post, and nor would I want anyone to try to figure that out. And I also understand too, you know, I don't want it to be like I'm speaking for everyone here. This is just my own thoughts, but because I have a YouTube channel about Hawaii and life in Hawaii from one local's perspective, I figure I would offer my perspective. And I hope that there's a place where we can also listen to other people's perspectives as well, particularly the ones who went through this, and to hear their stories and to hear their needs, you know, what they really need. And hopefully we can do that. We can provide that for them. And it might not even cost us much financially, monetarily. It might not cost us much. It may just take time that we give, or talk story, or just, you know, being nice, showing them aloha. So thanks for watching.